yeah, thank you so much again for doing this. I'm so excited to, to be able to have this conversation with you. Obviously, I'm sure that you are receiving lots of interest from, from the Bulgarian people with everything that you're doing and so on. Yeah, how actually does it feel for you to be appraised by so many people and so many people to be rooting for you and to be actually proud of you and everything that you're doing?
I consider that a huge responsibility, actually. First of all, it all started with me going to schools and speaking in front of children, a lot of kids,
Hmm.
giving talks just because what I'm interested in and what I've been doing as courses and training is not very well known. It's not common for Bulgarian students and especially a girl. So in the beginning, I was fine with that, but when you grow a little bit older, because I've been into like that area for the past 6 7 years, so it's been a while. When you get older, you start to have more tasks in your daily life. Your daily life starts to be more serious. So right now it's a little bit hard for me to manage because I work and I go to school. I have so many classes and I study aerospace engineering, so it's very hard.
Hmm.
And even though I'm in the United States, there's still so many people reaching out to me, and it's very very hard to work with schedules when you have 7 hours difference. There is something like sometimes just appearing out of nowhere, and you have to cancel plans. I take that as a huge responsibility, as I said. I try to be very presentative. Um, Sometimes I find it hard to find the right words in Bulgarian because I'm so used to speaking in English. And same goes in English. I'm not really good at English. I mean, obviously I'm fluent, but not to the
Yeah.
level where I want to be. And sometimes because of my busy like schedule, I tend to like not be able to answer people because I don't like staying on my phone 24
Hmm.
7. And sometimes I completely forget, which is very bad, and I'm working on it. So yeah, there is a lot of hate as well, for sure. Yeah, there are people
Really?
who are not supportive, but I try not to read those comments. When I do, it ruins my day. But people have different backgrounds, different ideals, so it's
Yeah.
completely normal.
Yeah, it's great that you're so understanding, to be fair, although I can't really imagine why people would be negative towards everything that you are doing. But I guess, nowadays that's something normal. But I'm very interested to hear your perspective in terms of, obviously, as you've mentioned, you have a very hectic, very intense schedule right now.
Mhm.
So how was it for you to adapt to a daily routine like that, which I assume is so different and, so, something that you haven't been used to before. So how was that process for you like?
So I wouldn't say it's not fully like I'm not fully used to it because when I was in high school and middle school, I would go to school, but after that, I had dance lessons, drum lessons,
Oh,
rock
wow.
bands, rehearsal. Um, and since I was little, I knew that what I had in school was my responsibility, and my
Mhm.
parents raised me up in a way where in the beginning they'll be mad if I get a B.
Yeah.
But after that, I started being like competitive, and not in a way where I want to be better than others, just from myself. I have that theory that there isn't a subject that's too hard. It's me not understanding it. So if I got
Nice.
more knowledge about it, then I will be fine with it. So I was always in school, and then it came to my hobbies, which I really loved, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after graduation. So I continued with them,
Mhm.
and in the end, like in my junior and senior year, the interviews and podcasts and like articles started to build up, and people reaching out to me. Right now, I adapt. I would say sometimes I hate it for real, but sometimes I love it because I live by the motto full send or go home. And I know that if I don't full send it in this life or in my like 20s right now, then I'll be just mediocre person. And I don't say this is something bad, but I want to go around and see the world. I want to try everything in this world. I want to be the best version of myself, and the only way you can be that version is when you push to the limits and work so hard and try to have really tight schedule, set long-term goals, but also short-term goals. Know where you want to be in 10 years. Um, yeah, I'm really huge on lists, spreadsheets, in my
Nice.
jobs, in my daily tasks. One thing that I told you I really need to bear myself at is responding to people and trying to be more organized in the social environment. But definitely, I love it. When my parents and my friends ask me, "Okay, what's so difficult for your daily life?" and I'm like, "It's not just about having classes and clubs and jobs. Every week there is something. For example, today we have the podcast, and after
Yeah.
that there is a event with engineers from my school. We're gonna have dinner with the NASA engineers,
Wow.
Collins, like Gulfstream. There's so many companies. So yeah, every week it's a little bit different. It's very dynamic. But
Yeah.
I know that once I'm 30, it's probably gonna be more like settled down. So
Wow.
it's everything is point of view, right?
Yeah.
I can be here and complain, which I do sometimes because I tend to not sleep well. But
Mm.
you have two options: be grateful that you're here, or
Hmm.
stay and complain. Because if I complain, then I can go back home and live in the gray small town, right?
Yeah. 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 So there are a couple of very interesting things that you've mentioned. I really want to double down, but firstly, in terms of your mentality towards the way you want to approach your wife in your activity, this is something that I myself very much associate with. And I would be very interested to hear your point of view in terms of how did you develop this sort of self motivation that you have towards the things you want to achieve and the way that you want to, utilize your existence, I guess, not to sound too pretentious. But yeah, how did you develop this mentality? Is there something specifically that helped you to shape this way of thinking?
I would say we as people get motivated and inspired by others. That's for sure. I don't like comparing in a bad way. Now, when I think about it, subconsciously, probably it came from very early age. Because I grew up in a family where I wouldn't say my parents were poor, but they didn't have that much financial
Hmm.
like freedom to afford everything they wanted.
Hmm.
I would say that my both of my parents are really smart in managing money. So when I wanted something, for example, the first time I got the phone with the screen or an iPhone, because I love
Yeah.
pictures, so I really wanted to get an iPhone when I was a teenager, and
Nice.
I waited until I was 18 to get the iPhone 11, which was like 1 year like old model. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna save the money, just like let me buy it. So since I was little, my parents would raise me in a way where if I wanted something, I needed to work hard for it. They would set ultimatums. If I got certain grades, but not just like, oh yeah, go to school this week and get an A. It would be like get A's in that subject until the rest of the year, or um, for example, I really wanted a dog when I was little, and my dad would make me wake up at 6 a.m. and go around the block of apartments, just like walk to show him that I will be responsible enough to wake up in the morning and walk the dog, right?
Nice.
So that's the motivation that I had when I was little.
Hmm.
And once I became older, I started reading a lot of books. And obviously, these books were astronaut biographies or like entrepreneur biographies. And I saw the way they think. I learned that because I don't want to be just a space tourist. I really want to be an astronaut in the hard way and go through the hard training. So in all those books, what I read was you need to work super hard. It's all about the journey. It's not about the destination.
Mm.
Um, and I love to. Sometimes I sit down and I think, oh my God, I wonder where I'm gonna be in 1 year.
Yeah.
I wonder how many opportunities I would have taken that I wouldn't even imagine right now that I would get. And recently I've been thinking about all the things that happened to me over the past few years, and that motivates me. The fact that life is super surprising, it's super challenging. In January, I was doing a skydiving jump, and it
Yeah.
was right after my classes. And I was like, if someone told me 2 years ago when I was dying to do skydiving, to get involved with skydiving, that I will go to my dream college in Florida and I will watch rockets, and after classes, I'm gonna go and jump out of a plane during sunset, I would have laughed. And those experiences are super rewarding, like super rewarding. And I'm so grateful that the steps on my way came like turn out to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started going to college in Sofia, in Bulgaria, and then
Mm-hmm.
one decision like turned over my life. So that's a motivation, I would say. I love good films. I love good songs, and
Mm-hmm.
most importantly, I love good books. But definitely mentorship is a thing. I have people I admire and look up to, and I try to listen to their advice that could be like applicable to my life.
Mm-hmm.
So people around me inspire me.